welcome to the channel, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Cash, and this is Weekly Recap. What is Weekly Recap? Well, I'm an over-the-road truck driver in the United States, and I'm going to go over a week of operating a truck, tell you the loads I did, why I did them, all that stuff. These numbers are not to brag. They are not to complain. I am not here to convince you to become an owner-operator. I am just here to put out numbers of what happened to me and maybe help somebody if they want to put together a plan to become an owner operator. But this is not to convince anybody that it's the way to be for everybody, okay? It works for me. I like doing it, and that's why I do it. Some facts about what I'm doing here. I'm leased to an 80-20 split carrier. Do not talk about the carrier. At the end of this video, there's some advertisements to help you save money if you are an owner operator. So stick around to the end. Watch those if you want to. And other than that, we just going to go through some weeks here. Sorry, I've got a bunch of weeks written out here. Let me make sure I'm on the correct one. I'm about 3 weeks behind right now, if you guys don't know. So I will get caught up. But this week here, we're about to go over. This is from the first part. This is the second week of May 2025. So if you're interested in when these numbers happened. So I was at home. I went Minnesota to Virginia, first load. Been doing a bunch of these here lately. I did one the week before. I did another one like a week or two after this week. So this has been a steady load for me out of Virginia right now. 48 empty miles, 1127 on the loaded miles, 1175 total miles, and that is 34 degrees, 37,000 pounds, and it paid 3264. I don't know where they come up with that number, but 3264 is what it is. And then out of Virginia, I took Virginia down to South Carolina, and that load was 129 empty miles, 414 loaded miles, total miles 543 miles, and that was negative 10 degrees, 19,000 pounds, and that paid $1,100. And then that load took me down to South Carolina, and then I deadheaded all the way to Georgia for a load back to Minnesota. So was not crazy about deadheading that much, but honestly, there's not much going on right now as far as loads. So I was happy to have something coming back to Minnesota. A little bit more deadhead than I wanted, but it's what it is. 231 empty miles on that one. 1154 loaded miles for 1385. 25-degree load, weighed 34,000 pounds, and that load paid $2,200. So the load to Virginia, I do a lot of those. The load Georgia to Minnesota, I do a lot of those. So it just was what it was for the week. And not a bad week, in my opinion. I'll take these. This was a 6-day week. I did get home to Minnesota, took a day or two off. So this was 6 days on the road. From the time I left out to the time I was back in Minnesota was 6 days. And it just is what it is. And that was the week. 3 loads, Minnesota, Virginia, Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia to Minnesota. 3 loads for the week. Me and my carrier combined made 65.64 for the week. 65.64. And my 80% of that was 52.51. And I ran 3,103 miles to make that money. 3103 on the miles. That's a big week for me. Empty miles for the week, 408 on the empty miles, 2695 on the loaded miles, 13% deadhead. So the week had more deadhead than normal, but it's what it is. In a slow freight market, you've got to be willing to deadhead, or because I see these guys on the internet all the time. They say, "Oh, well, I would rather deadhead than pull a load that pays, blah blah blah." But I'm like, hell, if you can find a load that pays just a little something, I'll pull it. But it's like they're just not there. Like sometimes if you need to go from a specific area to another specific area, it's hard to find anything here lately. Chicago used to be one of those things. I would always find a load from wherever to Chicago, and then I would Chicago back to Minnesota. That's how I would split it. Chicago was like my cutoff point. Um, and in baseball they would refer to that as what the cutoff man. So I would go to Chicago, reload, come on back to Minnesota. It ain't even worth it anymore. Chicago just ain't there. They have ruined that market. I would say if there's any freight market that I think has been ruined, it's Chicago. And we know what goes on in Chicago. Foreign companies, the 1099 company driver companies, those type of people working out of Chicago. So what's ruined that market. Um, but it is what it is anymore. Um, like I said, I'm not trying to justify this week to anybody. I'm just saying this is what it is, and my thought process on it. I kind of rethink the week, looking back on it when I do the weekly recap. So that's just what it is. It's like I said, these numbers aren't to brag, they aren't to complain, they just are what they are. Let's go over rate per mile now. Everybody likes the rate per mile. $2.11 all miles. $1.69 to me, my 80%, $1.69, and that's 244 a loaded mile. So that's about where reefer's at these days. On an average, about 240-ish, somewhere in there, it seems to me. Let's go over the variable cost of the week. 1272 in diesel. Like I said, there's commercials at the end. If you want to know how to save money on diesel, check out those commercials. Diesel has been going down a little bit lately. Like the month of May, it was coming down, so I'm happy about that. But if you want to save even more, hang out to the end. 1272 on diesel, 187 on reefer fuel, 49 on DEF, 36 on tolls, 0 on parking, 0 on scales. That brings me to 1544 variable cost. Bring over the 5251, and I didn't do the math on that. So, and that leaves me 3707 to do what I have to do with. So, not a bad week, just a little bit harder or more running than I like to do, because I'm soft and lazy and whatnot. So, but I'm not sure if I said the temperatures on the loads, if anybody's interested in that. Minnesota outbound was 34 degrees. Virginia to South Carolina, -10. And then Georgia back to Minnesota, those are 25-degree loads. So if anybody was wondering, they were all reefer and they were all, pretty standard temperatures, 34, -10, 25. It is what it is. But that's the week, everybody. 3707 left to do what I have to do with. I'll take that and stay in business for another week, it looks like. As you notice, I'm still in the Cascadia. The Peterbilt is still at the shop. We're waiting on the insurance money to come in. And yeah, want to make sure that check clears before we go put a bunch of money into that truck, before we fix it. Make sure all the adjusters and everybody's came by that needs to look at it. But that's what's going on. If you guys don't know, I've did a couple live shows talking about the Peterbilt getting backed into. So if you're interested in that, go check out the live shows. Come join me for a live show. They're a lot of fun. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care of each other out there. And remember, people are more important than trucking. Hi, I want to talk to you real quick about the ES Advantage card. Do you need discounts at major truck stop chains? They got them. Do you need discount on shop rates at TA and Loves? They got them. Tire discounts. They even got health insurance now. Click the link down below. Easy application, no credit check. Sign up. They give you a call back, take all your information, and you'll be in the network. Do you need to save money by not idling your truck? Of course you do. That's why I'm introducing you to Zero Breeze today. Zero Breeze, a lightweight portable air conditioner that makes 5,280 BTUs of cooling power. Yes, you need this if you idle your truck overnight to stay cool. Yes, this will save you tons of money. Use my link below when you order, and I appreciate it.